when it comes to business, we believe that there is a fundamental problem in business at the moment in that you get the behaviour that you measure. I've got some examples here of what that might actually mean, and you might be able to identify with it. If you're measuring how many calls your customer service team answers before it hits the fourth ring, you'll be measuring more calls because that's the behaviour that you're driving. You're encouraging the behaviour of that customer service person picking up the phone. If you're measuring mentions on a Twitter account, or you're counting how many thumbs up you get on Facebook, how many likes you're collecting, you'll just get a big dumb number of tweets, mentions, retweets and likes. There is nothing there to tell you of the quality or the nature of those mentions or those likes. There is nothing there to indicate perhaps the sentiment or where it's come from or who's saying it. So this is where we believe at SDL, I work for the Social Intelligence division, that social data is actually a key way to find out all this missing information and will help you measure things in a more meaningful way, measure the things that actually matter to your business. So broadly speaking, all the ways in which consumers think about your organisation and the way in which they interact with your organisation, they all add up to three particular pillars. So the value proposition, how do people interact, how do they behave around you as a brand and your products, how are your product launches going? The engagement area, so how do consumers think, what are their experiences via your content, what's the interaction that they're getting from that? And then finally the brand. So how do they feel? Do they have an affinity to your brand? What kind of influence do they have? Who influences them to make a connection with your brand? Where are these connections coming from? These are all three things that are key areas that a business needs to know about to understand how they go to market better. And this forms the basis of our customer commitment framework. So we've got these three shared goals, and this creates what we believe is the ideal customer. And again, going along the lines of those three pillars, the ideal customer or consumer is one who shops, shares and advocates. They perform all these activities for you and your brand in order to be the best ideal connection that you could have. So when it comes to shopping, we need to be measuring what it is that is driving that behaviour of spending money with you. When it comes to sharing, we need to measure the very thing that you're using to get the advocacy out there, and what is your content worth. So our measurement system helps people to understand where customers are on the customer journey. They could be on any number of these different paths at any one moment, or they could be going through a multiple experience here, but you need to understand and measure, crucially, what matters most to your business. So the CNN piece here, hopefully you're all familiar with CNN as a broadcast network. They asked us to deliver some insight and some kind of digital strategy around the value of their website, because they wanted to know how much advertising revenue that they could go and demand and generate, which are the pages that were getting shared, where is the content that they're generating. As a publisher, they're generating tons of content, but they didn't have a measure of what was happening to it or where it was going or what the value was of shareability. So as we can see here, from the extensive audit of their content that we did, supplemented with social media monitoring, again, SDL SM2 is our social media monitoring tool that we provide, we were then able to identify that 43% of the news content shared from the website is done through social. That might not surprise you too much. Social is the big thing at the moment, but also the email is another platform. But we can break down the social into where exactly it is that it's happening. So some of the familiar platforms that we've heard about already, Facebook and Twitter, obviously the key ones, and YouTube, because they're putting up video content being shared through a video social network, as you might expect. But it's crucial that we kind of break this down to understand it further. Now, as SDL, we're a company that's very big on language translation, so we also like to delve deeper into any kind of data set to look at the linguistic differences. We can see from the content that is shared from the CNN website, different areas of the world actually share for different reasons. There are different motivations for sharing. So rather than just looking at content and going, yes, it gets shared, let's look at if there might be somewhere that where we are informed of through the social data of how it gets shared. So as we can see from here, very altruistic in the motivations for sharing, lots of looking to amuse a social network, whereas when we get over to the Asia-Pac kind of territory, it's a status thing. It's amplifying of self through social networks. So already now we know different things about different territories, and we need to think globally about social media. And this is where we can start to delve even further. Do we have any semioticians in the room? No semioticians? Good. This is a semiotician's wheel, this thing of beauty. And basically what we've done, semiotics is kind of the study of the meaning of textual analysis and things like that. So by taking all of the articles in the data set that we had from CNN, we could code every single story along the lines of what was the purpose of the article, what was the theme of the article, and what was the underlying message. And what we see here is that the top 5 articles that were shared break down this way. So the top article, the purpose of it was to deep dive, it was to give you more information, it was to tell you more about something. The theme was a spectacle of visual nature, but the underlying message itself was something that was highlighting something about a different culture. So we now know that that particular article was the one that got shared the most. It might be because of the very fact that we know the purpose, the theme, and the underlying message. As you can see, predominantly in the top 5 articles, it is the fact that the story gives you that bit more information. So CNN now know that giving as much information and delving further below the surface of a story is something that people actually like. And then this is where we get to the key part, really, the power of one. So from this research and the strategy that they then developed around an editorial code based on the semiotics that we've just shown you, they then found that for every 1 additional unique user, that then brought to their website 5 new unique users who are even more engaged in that they are spending longer on the website, they're reading deeper into the website, more click-throughs, staying on the website longer, lower bounce rate. And when we did a interview with some test candidates, they actually showed a higher level of recall and correct recall of brands that they saw advertising on the website. So if you actually start to think about the nature of the content and really get into it, you can deliver exactly what it is that you want and increase all these kind of behaviours that are worth measuring as a publisher that's looking to make money.